In this video, I'm going to transform this boring Go High Level website template in under 10 minutes using some really cool effects from my Notion doc, which by the way you can get from the first link in the description. So let's get started. First thing that I want to change on this website is the hero section, which doesn't have anything to grab the user's attention. So we're gonna delete this headline right here, and instead of having a longer description here, we're gonna use those benefits like convert more leads, follow up faster, and close deals while you sleep in a different way rather than a sub-headline. Let's go to the Notion doc and let's pick this cool looking effect. Advanced typewriter effect with cursor and text change. Of course, we can use rotating words effect or fading words effect or advanced fade effect and so on. There are tons of cool effects that can be used here, but for this particular example, we are going to use this one. So let me copy the code from here and I'll show you in just a second exactly how this one looks. I added the CSS here, then I created a custom HTML and JavaScript element right here, and I pasted the JavaScript here. Now let's copy these lines here, for example, convert more leads, then follow up faster, and let's replace them in here. Convert more leads, obviously let's do that, then follow up faster, and what was the last one? Close deals while you sleep. Okay, let's copy this and let's paste it in here instead of boost your sales. This is just an example right here. Perfect. Close deals while you sleep. Save. Then let's delete this and let's move this one right here. Let's click save and let's preview it and see how it looks. And as you can see, this one looks much more interesting. Of course, I used a typewriter font for this particular example, but you can change it however you want in order to match the vibe of your website. Let's move this a bit lower and increase the font size for this so it looks even cleaner. So let's add, let's say 20-40 pixels like this, and this one I believe we can go 70 or even 80 something. Yeah, something like this. And this one 90. Perfect. Let's click save, and this is how it looks. Really cool and really clean. One more thing that I would do is just add some margin to this and maybe an icon, and maybe change the font a bit so the button stands out even more. So we go to styles, we add margin 20, then we go to general, we change the color to something like this gray, or yeah, this gray I think looks even better than a darker gray. And then we can go to icon, shield, and have something like this, then change the color of the shield to something like this, and all of a sudden this looks much better than what we started with, and it looks like this. This thing right here I think can be moved lower and have like a carousel, so let's do that, and I'll show you a really cool trick that you can add. So let's delete this because we don't really want it. This we don't. This let's do 20 or 40 pixels, something like that, and below this we can add a logo showcase, and it will look like this. You can use the code from my custom coded logo carousel, which is this one right here in the Notion doc, and enhance the default logo showcase that Go High Level offers. So let me copy the code from here and add it in here. As you can see, we will add a gradient mask to the sides of the carousel, and it will look like this. Let me just add the custom class here. As you can see, we have some fade on the sides, and actually let's move this right below this one because this looks much better than having it displayed on this background image, because that image looks quite ugly in my opinion. Let's make this white, and now it looks much better, and I think the fade effect works really well on darker backgrounds like black or something like that. And this is exactly how it looks. Way better than just having a static image of logos here on top of this image right here, which was not looking good at all. Now we're gonna skip this part, and I want to add a really cool GSAP effect, which is a more advanced one, to this section right here. And we are talking about the section scroll freeze plus horizontal scrolling. A really cool effect that you can find in section 6, GSAP effects and animations. So let me show you how it looks first. This is how it looks. As you can see, the section pins in place, and then we can scroll horizontally, and then we resume our normal scrolling. So let me prepare the section in the website builder, and then we'll copy the code. Obviously, all the steps that you need in order to implement this effect are in this tutorial. So as you can see, I updated the layout. First things first, I added the CSS in here. As you can see, number of panels 3, because we had 3 sections that we want to display. We saved that. Then I added the class pin section to this section. I added the text here, the headline, then a custom JavaScript element which contains the actual code from the tutorial from my Notion doc. Then we have a row element which has the class horizontal section, and this horizontal section has 3 columns with class panel section, and each of these columns has the rows that I had before, right? So before we had 3 rows horizontally, you remember, and now we have them each in their own column. You get a point. It's a bit tricky with all these nested columns and rows, but it works, which is the best part. You can't see them here because we have this code right here, but if we delete the important thing here, then you'll be able to see at least one of them. And if you want to see all of them, you also have to delete this important here. But after you finish editing, you need to add the important tag here and save it, otherwise it won't work when the website is previewed. So let me show you exactly how this one looks. We have the hero section here, we have the logo carousel here, and then what we'll provide, as you can see, is just a normal section, but once we hit the section, it pins in place and we can scroll horizontally, which is really cool. You go through all the sections that we had previously, and once you hit the last one, then you continue to scroll down, which is really cool. And as you can see, when you scroll up, this is exactly how it looks. One thing here with this effect, I wouldn't recommend it to be used for mobile, because it's a bit strange, you know, when you scroll on mobile with your finger up and down, and then all of a sudden it starts scrolling to the side. I think it looks a bit strange on mobile. So on mobile, maybe keep the previous layout and then duplicate the entire section, hide it for mobile, and have this effect for desktop only. This is the best approach in my opinion. And yeah, this is exactly how I would transform such a website really fast. Of course, you can add tons and tons of more effects to enhance it even further, because you can choose from over 70 cool effects from my Notion doc that you can use for your own Go High Level websites. And again, if you want to get access to this Notion doc, you can click the first link in the description. And if you're curious to see a showcase of all these effects, then watch this video.